Hello, my name is Rob Garner. I'm a programming instructor, and today I'm going to demonstrate how to make your first C# application. So to begin, we'll open up Visual Studio. And now that we have Visual Studio open, the first thing we want to do is click on File, New, Project, and we're going to make a C# console application, and we're going to call it Hello World. And then we'll pick where we want this to be stored. I'm going to store it in on my C drive. You can pick the desktop if you wish. And then I'm going to click OK. When we create our initial project, what happens is that Visual Studio will create a folder for us in our solution. We can see where this folder occurs by right-clicking on our solution and open folder in File Explorer. And what we see is where in the directory where I decided to store this demo, we have the solution file, which is actually the file which has a bunch of configuration settings which are used to create this solution view over on the Solution Explorer. And then we have a folder called Hello World, and in that Hello World file there's a number of folders and files which are used to manage our application, and which to a large extent are managed by Visual Studio. Our program.cs, is just a basic stub of a program that Visual Studio puts in there, anticipating that we're making a C# application. And so that's where we're going to put our code. And you can see that it exists in the file folder that was created, and we can see it also in the Solution Explorer. And the file, and by default, it opens up the file when we start the project, so that we can see the program that's stubbed out. If we look at the program, we see a number of using statements. The using statement in C# is used to include a number of libraries. In fact, we're probably not going to use a lot of these libraries, but we'll just leave them there. It doesn't really affect execution or the speed of the program that gets developed. If we have extra references, we don't want too many of them though, because that will make compilation take a longer amount of time. They give us a namespace called Hello World. The namespace makes it easier for us to keep from having conflicting names in our programs. And there's a class called Program, which you'll notice is the same as the name of the file. And that's just the class that they've stubbed out for us to start with. And they give us a main method. In a C# console application, we need a main method because that tells the compiler where we're going to start execution. So the next thing we're going to do is just write some code so that we can display some information on the screen. And what we'll use is console. And you'll notice that as soon as I start typing, this little drop down appears. And that's basically IntelliSense. And what IntelliSense tries to do is anticipate what commands we're trying to type. And the nice thing is that you can just double click on them, and the and it will actually fill in that command for you, so you don't have to type everything all the time. We're going to be using something called the console class, and the console class has a number of methods that we can use in order to do to display or get information from the console window. In this case, I'm going to hit, when I hit the dot operator, you'll see that we get a drop down of all the commands and properties that are available for the console class. And the one we want to use is WriteLine. And if I scroll down to where it says WriteLine, I can double click on it and it'll appear. I could also have typed that out. And the WriteLine method has a number of what we call overrides. Overrides are basically different types of parameter lists which are associated with that method. And here we see there's 19 different overrides. And if I click through this down arrow, I can see each of them. And we can pass it a bool, a char. You can see the type that you can pass into it here. A character array, decimal values, and there's a number of different objects. And the one we're going to use is we're going to pass it a string to display on the console. And so I'll just type in a string, and that string will be hello world. In C# we terminate all of our lines with a semicolon, and what this basically is going to do is it's going to use the console class. It's going to use the WriteLine method of the console class, and it's going to display the string hello world. Now I can run this a number of ways. If I go up to the debug menu, I can start with debugging and start without debugging. We're going to start without debugging. And you'll notice that down at the bottom left it says build started. So when you start with a C# application, when you start the program, it will automatically start building it. So here right now the compiler is compiling the program, and we can see now that we have an application, a console application, which means that this window pops up from the operating system, and it executed our code, which was hello world. We can see it in the console, and it asks us to press any key to continue. That's actually provided by the operating system and our C#, and that will terminate that so that we can we're done with it. So that is our Hello World program, and it taught us how to start a C# application, and it taught us how to write a little bit of code, and how to run that console application. Congratulations, you've written your first C# application.